Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to a new episode of Eve Echoes. Tonight we are going to finish with the four major factions. We've covered the Galente, we've covered the Caldari, we've seen what the Amarr is capable of, and today we are going to look at the Minmatar Republic, ship tree, associated skills, preferred weaponry and preferred tank, and of course the roles which the ships themselves can fill. So let's start immediately. Now, one thing I must say before we start, please throw in a like and a subscribe if you like what we're doing here on the channel, and of course if you want to support and help keep this channel alive, there's also a donation channel membership. Feel free to check that out, link in the description. So let's waste no more time, because we've seen the Amarr tech tree took us around 1 hour, so I aim to do this as quickly as possible, but not to forget important stuff. So, first ship, the Rookie ship is the Reaper, pretty standard bonuses, just like all the other factions, 15% small cannon damage and 5% flight velocity. It's the ship that you get whenever you dock with a capsule in a station in which you have no other ships. Moving on to Tech 2, we've got the Slasher, which is the basic frigate, fast and flimsy. It has 80% stasis web fire capacity, need pet as a roll bonus, and 5% cannon tracking speed and 5% small cannon damage per frigate command level. One thing to mention, just as the other factions, the Slasher is the frigate that will carry over into the higher tech tree, the higher tech level, to fit in the role of Tackler or Interceptor. We'll see that when we get there. We've got the Rifter, which is the first combat-oriented frigate, the Brawler. Let's see how this one fits in, because we've got the frigate command bonus per level. We've got 5% small cannon damage and 5% small cannon accuracy fall off. It has 2 high slots and 3 low slots, no med slots. It has no possibility of using warp disruptors or stasis webs. It's just some damage and some tank and some extra damage mods. I believe that's pretty much what you can do with it. Moving on to Tech 3, we've got the Probe, which is the scanning ship, the scanning frigate. Of course, as I mentioned before, the scanning equipment is not yet in game, not even the disk scan, so it has 5% scan resolution and 4% signature radius, so it's harder to target down. And the scan resolution, I think it's just able to target stuff faster, but there's no, as I mentioned, there's no probing in the game. Yeah, we know we're not probing Uranus. Gotcha there. Moving onwards to the Reacher, which is a nice, fast and agile combat frigate that focuses on kiting, just like the Castrol. I forgot to mention that the preferred weaponry of the Amarr is basically cannons. They've got the close-range cannons, which were named autocannons, just like in Evil Eye, but they've been modified and they are now named something else. And we also have the long-range, the artillery, which is now named something else, but it's the same 2 different types of cannons: close-range, fast cycle, decent damage, and long-range, big damage, high alpha, but they fire a lot slower. Now, in some comparisons, the artilleries, the big ones, the long-range ones with high alpha, they're not as good as their counterparts in Evil Eye. I think they're still going to be revisited by the devs, probably for some decent bonuses. And some of the Minmatar ships also use missiles, just like the Caldari. So this is the first missile boat, the Breacher. We've got 5% small missile torpedo activation time per small missile torpedo operation level, and frigate command bonus per level. We get 7.5% shield booster amount. So it's interesting because it has that extra survivability, but it focuses on being a missile boat. Now, the preferred tank is mixed. Some ships may be good with fitting an armor tank, some ships may be good on fitting a shield tank, because the because the med slots, low slots is not the same as in EVE Online, meaning armor tank fits on the low slots and shield tank fits on the med slots. We've talked about this in some of our previous videos. All the tank and all the modules regarding tank and DPS are actually focused on the low slots. So having the same amount of low slots, regardless if you pick armor or shield tank, you just need to look at the proper specifications of each ship. For example, if we get to the attributes and fittings, we will see that the shield has 388 and the armor is 345. So it's balanced, but it has that extra bonus for shield boosting, so it's a shield tank nonetheless. With this one, we can see in the attributes and fittings for the Rifter that it has decent armor as well, but there's no bonus for armor wrapping or shield boosting, so you can very well fit it with armor, but I'd advise against it. Remember, armor plates do slow down your ship, if I'm not mistaken. So you just want to check this panel and make sure how the tank should go. We'll get to some armor tanks probably soon, and I'll show you guys how you can differentiate then. So we've got the Breacher, we've covered it, and the tech tree. First destroyer of the Minmatar is the Thrasher, 25% small cannon optimal range as a roll bonus, and 7.5 small cannon damage, and 5% flight velocity, meaning it moves faster and has decent amount of damage and good optimal range. The Minmatar guns, remember, they toy around with the fall-off range, so they have small optimals but big fall-off ranges, so you can toy around with that. You've got a pretty big space of maneuverability, as in terms of how much distance can you get from your opponent and still do damage while effectively avoiding your opponent's entire damage because you're out of his optimals. Moving on to Tech 4, we've got the Slasher 2, which is the improvement of the Slasher. We see extra bonuses for tackling. We've got, aside from the Stasis Web Fire Capacitor need 80%, we get an additional 80% Warp Disruption Capacitor need inside the roll bonus, meaning it has a lower amount of capacitor consumption when activating warp scramblers, warp disruptors. Warp scramblers are not yet in game, will probably be, I don't know. After burner bonus per level, we get 10%, so extra speed, and we've got per frigate command level 7.5% small cannon tracking speed, meaning since it will fly faster, it will be hard for its guns to track properly, so this bonus actually makes sense. 12% small cannon damage, excellent against other tacklers that you might come into contact when trying to intercept various enemy ships. Moving on to the first support, frigate support as in E-War, because there's also the repair frigate. So the Vigil, target painter target effects and target painter optimal range per electronic warfare level, 5% on both. Target painter basically increase your the opponent's ship in which you have this module active. It increased the signature's radius, meaning it makes it, you can think as a hitbox. It makes the hitbox a lot bigger, and it's easier to target. It's easier to hit it with missiles. It's called a target painter. If you've been in the army, you know what target painting means. Lighting something up for other peoples to do increased damage. Yeah, that's the target painter. Fortunately, the target painter is not yet in the game, but probably will be here soon, alongside all the other E-War modules, such as the jamming, the weapon disruption, and the sensor dampeners, yeah, the ones that the Galante use, and 8% small cannon damage and 5% small cannon accuracy fall off per advanced frigate command level. We can check the details. Let's see if we can get some interesting... Oh, still big shield, but it's fine if you go with armor here. It has pretty decent stats. So it's up to you when you're flying Minmatar. Depends on what exactly you want to go. You can either fit it for shield, you can either fit it for armor. They're that good in being adaptive. And of course, in Rust we trust, hence why the Minmatar ships look so weird, and they're probably stitched together with some wire and duct tape. They've got solar panels, which is good. They're eco, yeah, they're eco and they're environment friendly. Remember that. Moving on to the destroyers, we've got the Talwar Trainer, which is a dumbed down version of the Talwar. 25% missile torpedo velocity. This is the missile destroyer, the missile boats, just as in case of the Galente and the Yamar and the Kaldari. The second destroyer uses different types of weaponry, and we've got 6% small missile torpedo damage per small missile torpedo operation level, and destroyer command bonus per level. You get minus 10% warp drive signature radius penalty, and stasis web optimal range, and small cannon damage. Now, the warp drive signature radius penalty, I've talked about it before. It actually decreases the penalty for activating, or actually, yeah, activating the micro warp drive. Micro warp drive greatly increases your speed, like the afterburner, but even more. Afterburner is like giving you 100% something, 112, while the micro warp drive gives you like 500% speed increase, but you are becoming... We've talked about target painters. Yeah, imagine being target painted by several opponents, and your signature radius is so big that even big missiles can just blow you up in an instant, and they should probably miss you because you're small, and they should explode behind you because your signature is increased. It's very big. They have no problem tracking you and dealing big amounts of damage to you. So yeah, this is an excellent bonus, meaning it's more PvP oriented as opposed to the other destroyers, and it has that. It's basically a bonus to, actually an incentive to use micro warp drive on this ship. We've got the standard tower, which has the same bonuses, but the torpedo missile damage is increased. We've got 10% instead of just 6%, 323 as in slots. The trainer only has one mid slot, and the standard Talwar has 2 mid slots. 5% of web optimal range, that's the same. Checking over the attributes and fittings, pretty much the same. You can pick whatever you like, either shield or armor. But I'd recommend shield because armor might slow you down if you're running plates and you're running buffer tank. Thrasher 2, which is the improved version of the Thrasher, 25% small cannon optimal range as a roll bonus, and it's got some tracking speed and some small cannon damage per small cannon operation level. And of course, we've got the flight velocity bonus, just like the standard Thrasher. Now, the cannon damage and the flight velocity are standard. We get some 4% small cannon damage, and it's actually 4 hard points for turrets, while this one just has 3. So the bonus is a bit smaller, but it compensates with an extra gun, and if you sum it up, you'll get more DPS either way than just flying the normal Thrasher. Moving on to Tech 5, we've got the Probe Covert Ops. It is the improved version of the Probe. It can fit Covert Ops cloaking devices, meaning you can warp cloaked. This is an excellent ship for probing and scanning, but there's no such items in the game, as I mentioned. I forgot to mention that the Probe can be used effectively for hauling at the early stages of your hauling your space trucker business. This one being improved, it has, instead of just 1,000 cubic meters as the Probe has, this one has 1,500 cubic meters, meaning you can haul more stuff, more cans, more packages, and deliver and get more money out of it. and it has like 5% cargo hold capacity, so you get some more cargo hold bonus from just having frigate command leveled up. That's pretty much it on the Probe Covert Ops. You can still use it being a Covert Ops ship. You can use it as a scout, so you can warp cloaked and just provide intel for your mates, because nobody will be able to see it. Just make sure you don't approach anything closer than 2,000 meters, because you will get decloaked. Anything coming closer to 2,000 meters, then you lose your cloak, and they'll see you. Peekaboo. The burst is the first logistics ship in the Minmatar ship tree. If it's got 8% remote shield boost to optimal range, 100% remote shield boost to accuracy fall off, 12% remote shield boost to capacity need per remote shield operation, meaning it's a shield logistics. You've got the armor logistics being in Galente and the Amar, and the shield logistics are sitting in the Kaldari and Minmatar tech trees. It's a pretty standard shield repair, fly to your best, because in big fleets you probably get primary. That's what happens to logistics anyway, so be careful. But it's good nonetheless if you're planning like doing even PvE, and you're planning on doing something bigger than what your ship classes are. Having logistics with you is actually nice, because it can keep the small fleet, the small gang alive, and they can gun down I don't know, be it storyline mission or counter or just simple anomalies. So it's up to you how you use it. Moving on to the Thrasher Guardian. This is the tank version of the Thrasher. It has a damage bonus, which I think Guardians should have a lot less. And they should focus more. I mean, the bonuses should be a lot more in resistances and in armor HP per level, something, rather than just having DPS, because the role of a tank is to tank, not to DPS. DPS stuff falls into the guys flying the big guns. Yeah, that's right. It's up to the Guardian to shield them from damage, either with the shield field modules or with the armor links. You get the point. 5% shield, that's just it, and no resistances. Too bad. Might be actually good instead of that tracking speed or cannon damage. It might be good to have some extra resistances. Thrasher fleet issue, 4 guns just like the Thrasher 2, but it has 7.5 tracking speed and 7.5 cannon damage, so it has the cannon damage bonus per small cannon operation level as the standard Thrasher, but it has 4 guns like the Thrasher 2, so meaning the Thrasher fleet issue will deal more damage than the Thrasher 2, but of course it'll be more expensive, so watch out. It has that extra shield, and again, scan resolution and scan strength to target stuff faster, so you can just apply damage immediately and not waste time on targeting. Moving on to the first cruiser in Minmatar 3, we've got the Stabber, tech level 5, medium cannon accuracy fall-off and medium cannon activation time. It cycles faster, there's no bonus for damage, but it has that extra velocity. By the way, Minmatar ships are excellent in nano tanking or speed tanking, however you want to call it. You avoid damage by moving fast enough to get out of tracking speed and to get out of the explosion radius, explosion velocity for missiles. So they're pretty well engineered and designed in terms of that, because they're flimsy, and you can gain the upper advantage by going nano, because you'd fit the prop modules, propulsion modules anyway on any ship, but this one actually gives you an advantage because you're flying faster. And I think compared to the other ships, the other factions, the Minmatar have better speeds. Moving on to the Stabber Trainer, which is a dumbed down version of the Stabber, just 5% medium accuracy fall-off and flight velocity, and that's that. It has 4 slots, while the standard Trainer, 2 mids, 4 lows, Okay, it has 2 mids and 3 lows, so it's 1 low slot poopier, and the accuracy fall off is a bit poopier, but it's good. The Stabber, all the training cruisers are actually decent, so you can do a lot of stuff with them. Remember that. Moving on to tier 6, we've got the Burst 2, which is an improved version of the remote wrapping burst. Has some increased bonuses, I think, for the no, not for the resistances anyway. It has a better capacitor. It has more power in it, meaning you can repair for a longer duration until you run out of it. 5% flight velocity and remote shield booster mount. This is good. Allows you to wrap more per cycle, and capacitor need to basically avoid capping, actually avoid finishing off that capacitor fast, meaning it'll last longer and you'll be able to repair much longer, combine it with the improved capacitor. This ship is pretty decent at repairing, a lot better than the Burst standard. We've got the Hound, which is the upgraded variant of the Breacher, and this one focuses heavily on damage. It's a missile boat, and it can fit 9% medium torpedoes, meaning cruiser-sized torpedo launchers. So it's going to pack a punch whenever you decloak. It can warp cloaked. We've got cloaking deactivation delay. I'm talking silly. Max covert ops cloaking devices, so it can fit covert ops cloaking devices. And cloaking device lock delay, meaning once you decloak, you can immediately target your prey on other ships that don't have this bonus. After decloak, you have to wait like a few seconds before you're able to target, because you'll get a message your ship sensors are still aligning or something like that. Moving on to the cruiser, actually starting the destroyers, we've got the Talwar Sniper, which is another missile boat. Torpedo velocity 25% missile, 7.5 missile small missile torpedo damage, which is actually very good. It has 4 launches, 3 mids, 3 lows, and stasis web for optimal range. It's a sniper, and the optimal range for the web is actually interesting, because you can kite with this one. You can kite stuff at around, let's say, 15 kilometers, or actually a bit lower. Anyway, above 12 kilometers. And considering there's like 11 kilometers on the web, with the bonus, you'll be able to web your prey, and he will not be able to approach and deal damage to you if he's a brawler fit, and you'll be able to just pin him down, keep him there while you pummel him with your missiles. Moving onwards to the Stabber Fleet issue, which is a better version of the standard Stabber. Has increased damage, increased DPS, because it has 5 high slots. It can fit 5 turrets, and of course we've got the minus 3% medium cannon activation time, which means all your 5 guns cycle faster. And we've got flight velocity and scanner resolution and sensor strength, meaning it can target stuff faster to apply damage right away. We've got the Rupture, but let's touch on the Rupture Trainer. This is a very good ship. I like the Rupture very much. Unfortunately, it has its drawbacks, but we'll probably start a series with how to fit your ships and all that, and we'll probably touch on the Rupture as well, because you can do some neat stuff with it. Rupture, 5% shield on the trainer and 5% new cannon tracking speed and cannon activation time minus 2%. It can cycle faster through the guns. 4 high slots, you can fit 4 guns. And going on to the Rupture, 4 guns, 5% shield, 5% medium cannon tracking speed, and 5% cannon activation time reduced. A lot better than the trainer, of course. We've talked about Stabber Felicia, and we've got the Bellicose. The Bellicose is the first support cruiser in terms of E-War. On the Minmatar tree, we've got 5% target pain effects and the target pain optimal range. Again, target painting is something specifically for the Minmatar ships. It's their racial E-War, and we've got 5% medium missile torpedo velocity and 5% medium missile torpedo damage. It's a missile boat made for E-War tactics. Moving on to Tech 7, we've got the Breacher Assault, which is the an improved version of the Breacher, using rolling techniques this time. It's an assault ship, has that plus 5 seconds damage control activation time, keeping your resistances high as fuck. Minus 10% warp drive signature radius penalty, meaning you get to fit that macro warp drive. It's an incentive for it to get that on the ship and basically close down the range between you and your enemy, so you can apply maximum damage right in his face. Minus 5% warp drive capacitor need, and small missile torpedo activation time, and shield boost demand for survivability. Moving on to the Talwar Assault, which is should be an improved version of the Talwar, sitting side by side with the Sniper. This one is made to just like the Breacher Assault. Go as fast as you can near your enemy, apply full damage to face, and win the fight fast. This is what this baby is made for. Damage, signature radius penalty, so your signature is actually is not that big. It's just reduced by 50% when you activate the micro warp drive, and 60 watt fire optimal range. Again, not that much of a difference between the Sniper and the Assault, but it's good nonetheless, having some form of E-War there. Getting on to the cruiser, we've got the Rupture Guardian, which is a Guardian ship version of the Rupture. Should have tank, but again suffers from damage bonuses and just 5% shield. No resistance bonuses. Would have been nice to have that as well. Scythe. The Scythe is the remote repping cruiser. Now, it's focused on shield repping, or remote shield operation and shield transfer. So we've got the remote shield booster optimal range 400%, and the group shield booster effective range, meaning you can have some form of a shield booster per group, healing all nearby allies and giving them shield, which is very nice. It's nice to fly, but flimsy. In fights with bigger stuff, it'll get targeted, it will get primaried, and you will lose it, because as I mentioned before, for the other factions, the logistics cruisers don't have a Tech 2 version or an improved version of it. It is just either this, and then I think it's also the Scythe too, but there's not much of a difference. It's not that better, like resistance is high and being able to survive better. No, it's one shot. If multiple people focus on you, you're dead. Moving on to the Bellicose covered ops. So this one can fly cloaked, can warp cloaked, it doesn't care, but it uses the same target painter. It's an excellent scout ship, an excellent cruiser, has survivability. It's a missile boat, and you can use the target painter yourself for your own missile damage boosts. So remember that target painter doesn't affect only your opponent, and all the other people can shoot it. No, you can shoot it too. You can shoot it and benefit from the same bonuses that you are basically applying, or deficits you're applying to the opponent. Hurricane prototype. Tech level 7, the first battle cruiser, 25% medium cannon optimal range and cannon accuracy, fall of command, burst module slots, and medium cannon damage and cannon activation time and flight velocity. Again, fast ships. Minmatar like fast ships. Remember that. Hurricane is excellent battle cruiser. This is I think it's the dumbed down, no, the prototype. Could be something similar as in the trainer. Let's get over to the standard. Oh, we still have one more. We have the Cyclone, which is the other battle cruiser that the Minotaur has. medium missile torpedo velocity 25%, command burst module can fit, medium missile torpedo activation and medium missile torpedo explosion velocity, meaning it has bonuses to deal better damage versus small targets with big warheads. So that's something that you might want to use as rigs in other ships that might use big, as in the Caldari, that use big missile launches. In order to hit smaller stuff, you need exactly that explosion velocity or increased explosion radius. You can get that. You can get those from rigs. Moving on to Tier 8, we've got the Slasher Interceptor. Again, even more focused Slasher version. It can fly through and ignore warp bubbles. Remember that. It's very important because if you warp through and you pass through a warp bubble, the warp bubbles are still not in the game yet. They'll probably be soon enough, but if you pass through a warp bubble, you'll not be affected. Now, if you are playing like a scout and you'll advance and you'll just say to the rest of your team that it's clear, you can come, well, they'll get stuck in the warp bubble or the warp disruption field, and they're going to be easy targets, so be mindful of that. It's your role to protect or to announce, to offer intel in advance so your fleet can survive the trip. We've got the Rupture 2 Guardian, which is an improved version of the Rupture Guardian. Pretty decent stats, pretty much the same as the standard Rupture Guardian. It only has like, I think, the shield is still the same. I think it's the cannon activation time as a bonus, and the tracking speed. Again, this was not meant for damage, this was meant for tanking, so it should have better bonuses in regards to its tank. Moving on, we've got the Stabber Sniper, which is just like the Talwar, but this one uses cannons. You've got medium cannon accuracy fall-off and activation time cycle faster, flight velocity 5%, and we've got 5 guns. And this should probably be flown like a sniper, but I don't know. The snipers are so weird. Some of them have brawling. How should I say? They've got brawling traits. I don't know. This is definitely interesting to fly in if you've got the money, because it's going to be pretty expensive. 200 million estimation. Okay, moving on to the battle cruisers on tier 8. Yeah, we've got the Hurricane, the standard one, 25 medium cannon optimal range and cannon accuracy fall off. Let's see actually the details for the Hurricane. I think we can do either armor or shield. We've got, nope, the gap is bigger. I don't know. You should be able to fit armor tanks on Minmatar ships. The gap shouldn't be that big. Medium cannon damage and medium cannon activation time. Okay, flight velocity like always, better speed for all Minmatar ships. And we get onto the attack battle cruiser. This is just like the Talos or the Naga or the Omen. No, not the Omen, sorry, the Oracle. This ship can fit battleship-sized weapons for some incredible amounts of damage. Just be mindful that the attack battle cruisers are sort of like glass cannons. They don't tank very well. In our previous episode, we mentioned the pocket battleships, which were actually battle cruisers fitted with battleship guns, but with absolutely no tank, no armor, or the armor was very, very light to allow fast movement. Exactly, it's something that the Germans developed. We've got they had the Graf Spee, and it was decent, but if I remember correctly, it was self-sunk by the German commander near Venezuela, if I'm not mistaken. If you have some more information on the history, please confirm in the comment section, of course. Moving on to tier 9, and we've got the Hound, which is a breacher specialized, Bomber. This is the stealth bomber. The second variant, we already saw the Hound, but the standard Hound, was using cruiser-sized torpedo launchers. This one can fit large torpedoes, meaning a battleship-size missile launcher, battleship-sized torpedo launchers. The damage is insane, but they're very weak. So you just decloak. You need to be like in a gang. Decloak, apply the maximum damage, kill your target fast, and get the hell out. Don't stay too much around, because you'll just get popped one by one. They're just that flimsy. But they pack quite a punch. Moving on to the Bellicose 2 Covert Ops. It's the improvement of the Bellicose Covert Ops. And it has the same ability to warp cloaked, target painter effectiveness, and warp drive signature radius penalty. It can fit micro warp drives, but remember, when moving around cloak, you cannot activate afterburners or micro warp drives, so something to keep in mind. Moving over to the battle cruisers on tier 9, we've got the Cyclone Guardian, which is the Guardian ship. The Guardian version of the Cyclone, and it's the tank for the battle cruiser lines. Pretty decent stats. 25% medium missile torpedo velocity, max shield free modules, the tank modules, and the shield booster amount. Now, this bonus is good. 7.5 shield booster amount, and as opposed to the cruiser, it has no shield HP or some HP. It just gets a bonus for boosting, so it's pretty interesting. Activation time, again with the DPS, might as well just give it some more resistances, for crying out loud. Their tanks should behave like tanks. Okay, moving over to the Tornado 2, which is large cannon power grid need 95%, and large cannon activation time cycles through weapons faster. And as compared to the standard Tornado has 6 available turrets to fit, while the Tornado 2 has 7 slots to fit even more turrets. Hurricane Logistics. This ship I do not understand at all. Again, I was mentioning because they did not manage to add some Tech 2, like an Evil Line, the Tech 2 variants of the cruisers. That the let's say, for example, this one should be specialized on remote repping. They went with an advanced class and adding the role bonus of logistics to it. So in case you're flying with battleships and battle cruisers, it's not good to have logistics cruisers with you. It's good to have logistics battle cruisers with you, because they can survive better, of course. Moving on to the first battleship, the Maelstrom. The Maelstrom has 5% large cannon activation time reduced, a large cannon operation level, and 7.5% shield booster amount. It has a good, decent tank, 8 high slots for 8 large gun, an excellent gunboat in terms of using it in an alpha fleet. If you manage to fit the artilleries, and it'll deal insane amounts of damage. It's a battleship nonetheless. Moving on to the second battleship, it's the Typhoon, the Flying Cigar. This is the missile boat, the missile battleship of the Minmatar. Large missile torpedo activation time 5%, large missile torpedo explosion velocity, and 5% scanner resolution to be able to target stuff faster. Now, I don't know how much it will help, this 5%, but hopefully it will. Because it's a battleship. Battleships by default have, I think, so far in the game, because we don't have anything over battleships, they have the lowest rate in ratings in targeting stuff fast. So remember that. This is a good bonus, but I don't think it's enough. But although increasing it might break the idea of having a battleship that can insta-lock you, that's bad. No, you don't want to have that. We'll go into the tier 10, again the Slasher 2 Interceptor, as all the other frigates that sit here on the frigate panel. On tier 10, they should be lower. They should be lower, including the Slasher 2 Interceptor. It does not justify to have it this high. The bonuses are not that different to the Slasher Interceptor. Pretty much the same. We've covered this in all the other factions as well. And of course, the Thrasher Covert Ops. This has nothing to do with its location being here. It should be lower, down below on the tech tree. It's not actually a very big improvement. We've got the Covert Ops cruisers that are lower in a tech tree. Why have this so high in the tech tree? What makes it so good, even better than a cruiser with Covert Ops? I don't know, maybe because it's faster. No idea. I can't understand it being placed here. Now, moving on to the battle cruiser, we've got the Cyclone 2 Guardian, which is the Guardian version of the Cyclone. The advanced Guardian version of the Cyclone has some extra bonuses to, I think, to the damage. The shield boost amount is basically the same, but it does have like an extra low slot, sorry, 7 low slots instead of just 6 or 5. So it really helps to have that that tank set up. The more the slots, the better. And we are down to our last ships of the Minmatar tech tree. We've got the Maelstrom Striker, which I think we've talked about in the other videos for the other factions. The same as the Maelstrom, 5% activation time and shield boost amount. This one has 6% activation time, okay, fires a bit faster, so dealing more DPS, and large cannon tracking speed and shield boost amount. So the only ones being different is the large cannon tracking speed and the activation time being faster. And the final ship in the tree is the Tempest. The Tempest has 8 high slots, meaning you can fit 8 guns just like the Maelstrom, 5% large cannon damage and -4 large cannon activation time, double damage bonus. Yeah, that's right, you heard it correctly. It's got the large cannon damage as a bonus and an additional bonus for DPS because the activation time is lower, meaning you can cycle through your guns faster and deal more damage at the same time, so the DPS increases by a lot. We made it. I hope it's not an hour. I don't think it's an hour. I don't feel like I've spoken for an hour. So that was the Minmatar ship tree review. Feel free to comment or leave a comment below regarding your opinions on the trees themselves. We've finished with the main factions, so we will be picking up the smaller factions. We'll probably do 2 factions per episode because there's like 3 or 4 ships in there. It doesn't make any sense to have such a big operation for them. So it's safe to say that we can group them. I'll see how best I can group them to show you guys exactly what they can do. So that's it for me. What can I say? Thank you guys for watching. A very big shout out to my channel supporters, and I'll see you guys next time. Cheers.